Very light volume today. This market doesn't have enough liquidity to support itself. There should be more follow-through coming in. And also, the volume's going to get lighter as we get to the holiday weekend.
Okay, so let me get to Peter Schiff of Euro Pacific Capital. You know, Peter, you're always marching to the beat of a different drum. Gold has been one of the best trades along with tobacco and utilities right now. How much are you up, and did you do any selective buying, or are things getting so expensive at the moment because you start to see the miners move higher?
Well, you know, they're not expensive at all. I think they're still cheap, despite the fact that many of these gold stocks are now at multi-year highs as gold hits another, 52-week high today. I think relative to where they've been in the past and where they're going, can still buy these stocks. I think they have a long way to run. You know, as far as the financials, we don't own any of those. I haven't owned them for years. I wouldn't try to pick a bottom there, but I would be moving money into these miner stocks. Very few people on Wall Street have them. You know, we're having a fantastic year this year. In fact, the last 2 days, this is probably the most we've outperformed going back to 2009. So for the people who understand what's happening, this is a great market. It's only going to get better. And, people are worried about the UK. We're going to have a much worse recession than the United States. We have 50 states that are trapped in a much worse union than the EU. And unfortunately, we're stuck. We can't get out. Britain is able to extricate itself from the mess in Europe, but we're stuck with a bigger mess here in the United States.
Well, S&P just downgraded, and I'm not sure I put much credence in what a lot of the ratings agencies do. See, Peter's laughing, but Scott Shellady, look, the here and now is this, that anybody with a 401k that has U.S. stocks, we're not even part of this fight, and we're getting dragged down by it. But Peter, as Scott Redler came up to me and he said, oh, Peter's with us, he's been bearish for 10 years. I said, I've known him since high school. He's been bearish since he was 16. But look, it is obviously a time where gold does well. But what's your next trade? As you look ahead, Peter, what are you going to be putting money into?
It's not about being bearish. It's being correct. And first of all, this is not about Brexit.
Right? Certificate of state solvent during that time period. Sure.
Brett, let me finish here.
Go ahead.
This is not about Brexit. All right, Brexit is all the media. Brexit is a catalyst. It's like the match that lights the Tinderbox. The markets are artificially propped up by central banks, by cheap money, by QE. And it's all hype and hope. The markets never should have been where they were. And what this is doing, what Brexit is doing, is challenging the belief that the markets have the confidence in central bankers to keep all these bubbles in the air. And this is what is going on. So don't get caught up in, oh, you're overreacting to what's happening in Britain. That is not it. This is like a day of reckoning that's starting. There's a lot of dominoes that are going to come down. And, yes, the Fed is going to use this maybe as an excuse to cut rates and do QE4. It was looking for an excuse for a long time. But we have some real serious problems that go way beyond what's happening in Britain.
But, Larry, let me jump in. Larry Levin, hold on, Peter, because we got to go soon. But, Larry Levin, look, I hear what Peter's saying, and we do have serious problems. But it isn't smoke and mirrors to say that a Starbucks has a billion-dollar business when it comes to frappuccinos, or Apple has sold millions of iPhones. There are names out there. Are you seeing anything on the floor of the CME where people are saying, okay, now I'm going to get in? Now, I'm not recommending anything. I'm just saying Barclays at $6 or $7. That bank is not going away. It just may be a little hot to handle right now, but maybe a play later.
There are some cheaper things, that's for sure, but I really agree with Peter. I think, you think about this Brexit thing as kind of like the light kind of started the fire and showed us really what the deal is. I totally agree with what he said. Really, the central banks have been propping these markets up for years. They'll want to do it more, and they'll do it even more now that this is happening. And so that's a situation you got to keep an eye on. Retail investors out there, they need to be smart. They need to put stop losses orders in, and they need to protect themselves, because I think there's more downside than we see now. With that being said, Liz, there are some good things to buy, but we need to be careful.
And I think we have to be careful to get the retail guys not to get out of the market fully, because if you did that before the financial crisis, you never got back in. If you have a long-term time horizon, this will help the average cost. If you're a trader like me, you definitely have to be careful.
Okay, we got to go. Sorry, Peter.
If you're in the wrong stocks, you got to get out. If you're in the wrong stocks, you got to get out and get in the right ones and get out of the U.S.
Well, then there's the old don't catch a falling knife. But listen, great to have all of you, Peter, Scott, Larry, and, of course, Brad Hintz. We do appreciate it. Backlash.